I do my best to cook dinner for my family daily, and these are two easy and delicious recipes that you can whip up for your family with simple ingredients. The first thing we're making is an easy oven roasted chicken dinner, and as a busy mom, this is something that I always keep in rotation. It's seriously fast to prepare and is very hands-off, and I love cooking something that I don't have to babysit. You're gonna start with at least a 5 to 6 pound whole chicken, and you can go as big as you like, but you'll just need to adjust the cooking time to longer if it's bigger. So make sure that it's 100% defrosted if it's been frozen. So make sure you take it out of the packaging and make sure that there's no ice or anything inside the cavity hiding, because you may think it's defrosted, but once you open it, there may be ice or something inside. I know that's happened to me before. And the number one thing is your bird has to be defrosted and brought to room temperature, fairly room temperature. About 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how cold or hot your house is and the time of year. I definitely like mine to be not too cold because it definitely affects the cooking. Tip number 2 is make sure that you pat your chicken dry. The drier that the bird is, the better your herb butter is going to stick. And then all I do to season this is a nice herb butter that I place under the skin and all over. And my herb butter was 1 stick of butter, salt and pepper, garlic powder, or you can use fresh garlic, poultry seasoning, and lemon juice. And then optionally, you can add some fresh herbs like thyme or rosemary. With a really dry bird, the butter goes on very, very nice because if it's wet, water and oil or the butter here, they don't mix. And so it's gonna be hard to smear the butter on your chicken. I lift up the skin gently and try to put some underneath, and then I rub it all over my bird. And then I'll even finish off the chicken with some extra salt that I sprinkle all over the top, because chickens are very big and we're kind of just seasoning the outside, so it's kind of hard to overdo it on the seasonings. So I do sprinkle it on top with some extra salt to help crisp up the skin and give it a good flavor. And then I do add some onions and some carrots. Now if you're roasting this in a bigger dish and you don't have as much chicken as I do, because I also added some extra drumsticks because we need a little more chicken for our family. But if you're roasting this in a bigger dish, and if you want, you can add vegetables straight inside. You could add some potatoes and some carrots, and they cook so good and they taste so delicious roasting in the pan with the chicken. And you can put them in at the beginning and they'll be nice and tender when your chicken's done. But I first roast my chicken at about 425 for 10 minutes. And then I turn it down to 375, and I let it cook for about an hour and 15 more minutes, depending on how big the bird is. If it's bigger than about 6 pounds or so, you're probably gonna have to do a little longer, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 25. You'll have to keep an eye on it and use a thermometer to check the chicken and make sure it's at about 165 in a few places, and then it's done. And then I'm just gonna serve this up with some frozen vegetables. I always keep these on hand for an easy weeknight side. Me and my family do low carb, so I'm not as busy as I once was. I used to be a lot more cooking and in the kitchen when I was making rice and potatoes and pasta and things. So because most of our nights are low carb, it's really easy to just make a protein and some vegetables on the side. But this is so good. The kids love the chicken. It's so nice to be able to put something in the oven and walk away and clean up some other stuff. And in just a short period of time, you have a delicious, delicious chicken dinner.
So nothing under me, no one's getting hurt. It's good after all.
The next thing we're making is my spin on shepherd's pie. I had some leftover pie crust from my kids' homeschool class. We have just started doing home ec, and so I've been trying to teach the girls how to cook and do stuff around the house, but they've been really loving how to cook. And this day we had gone over the science of a good pie crust and how that works, but we had made some mini apple pies. So I had some leftover crust, so I decided to do shepherd's pie. Now I know a traditional shepherd's pie is topped with mashed potatoes, which is so delicious, but I like to fill mine with meat and veggies and then top it with cheese. So it comes together a little faster because I don't have to make mashed potatoes, but it's still equally delicious. You're going to use your favorite pie crust recipe, or you can use a store-bought pie crust, and then we're gonna go ahead and blind bake it. Today I used pinto beans, but I also like to use sugar as my pie weights. It helps keep your crust from shrinking as it's baking. So to blind bake my crust, I cook it at 375 for about 15 minutes, and then I take it out of the oven and remove the pie weights, and then I pierce the bottom of the crust with a fork, and I place it back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes until it's golden brown, and then it's on to the filling. The first thing I do is start browning my ground beef. I season it with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Now you can use fresh garlic. I only use powder because Nico has a sensitivity to raw or fresh garlic, but he seems to do fine with the powdered, so that's why I use it. While that's cooking, I chop up an onion and then I add that to my meat, and I cook it for a few minutes until my onion starts getting translucent.
Did you forget what you said? I'm the one that you want. Was it all in my head?
Next, I add my bag of frozen vegetables. I season it again because you want to season every layer, and then I add some chicken broth.
Hope that you see.
To thicken and start my gravy, I add some tapioca starch to heavy cream, and then I add that in, and I let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you can use any thickener that you like or flour. And once that's done, then I start shredding my cheese. And you can also use any cheese that you like. You can use cheddar cheese, mozzarella, jack. Today I'm using pepper jack cheese, and the pepper jack cheese was so good. It was a really good combination. Something about everything just worked so well together, but I'm definitely gonna use pepper jack cheese from now on.
We can pick up the fight. Don't give up on
And finally, it's time to assemble. I'm gonna add in all my filling mixture, and then on top of that, we're gonna add all the jack cheese on top. And then I'm gonna put this back into the oven at 425 degrees for about 15 more minutes, and then dinner's ready.
Even if we need space, I know we'll find a way. Baby, you just have to stay. Stay by my side just tonight.
I love how the cheese gets all toasty and melty on top. This was a really simple dinner. I just served it with some sour cream, and cleanup was a breeze since I had minimal dishes. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're new here, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. I make new videos every week, and I will catch you back here next time.
Morning, we can pick up the fight.